Hi, Mr. Natural here from Mr. Natural's Music School. Today we're going to talk some numbers and a little bit of ABCs, but mostly I want to explain the major scale and the major pentatonic scale and the minor scale and the minor pentatonic scale and their relationships here. So come on into the piano here and let's look at the slider. Here on the slider you'll see I have two major intervalometers, one on top of the other. You can see that if I start in C, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That is what we call the major scale. Or do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, as it used to be called in Latin. Okay, most songs are expressed with those 7 notes. The chords in there have two types of chords. We have what are called primary chords. 1, 3, 5 is our 1 chord. 4, 6, 1 is our 4 chord. And 5, 7, 2 is our 5 chord. Now this is called a 1 chord because my thumb's on 1. This is called a 4 chord because it's 1, 2, 3, starts 4 notes away. And this is called a 5 chord because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes away. And these are called primary chords. And they are used for making most songs. 1, 4, 5 chord progressions are most songs. So they're called primary. Now the reason being is 1, 3, 5, 4, 6, 1, and 5, 7, 2 gives us all of the numbers in the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So every one of these numbers will harmonize with one of those 3 chords. And that's why they're called primary chords. And the primary chords, just like primary colors, generate the 7 colors of the rainbow or the 7 notes that we use. Now, what I want to do is show you that on the piano, the black keys preserve an older scale. Instead of a 7-note scale, they preserve what we call a 5-note scale. If we take the number 1 and move it over to this group of 3 black keys, you'll see the number code is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 1. And a lot of folk tunes are. So that's Tennessee Waltz, just using the pentatonic scale. So and it sounds very Chinese. Now let's take a look at the minor scale and see how it is in comparison. We move back to the key of C. We have these things called church modes. If we go do the scale from 2 to 2, we call that the Dorian mode, the Phrygian mode, the Lydian mode, the Mixolydian mode, the Aeolian mode, and the Locrian, yes, Lucifer, Locrian mode. If we go from 6 to 6, in major, we call that the Aeolian mode, which is the natural minor. So let's take this top slider and flip it over, keeping it in place, and you'll see that what happens is, if the stripes still align with the black keys, that the number 1 for the minor has moved over here to 6. And then put it back here. So now, if we go, and here's where the alphabet started. The oldest scale that we know of was the minor scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Starting in A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. So the alphabet from A to G to A is the natural minor scale. And you'll see that the stripes line up, so if we use all the white keys here for the 5-note or 7-note major scale, we can use all of the notes here from 6 to 6 on major, or renumber them as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now what happens is, if we take our major 1 chord and flatten the 3rd, we get a minor chord. If we take the 4 chord and flatten the 3rd, we get a minor chord. If we take the 5 chord and flatten the 3rd, we get a minor chord. Now in the major scale, the 2, 2, 4, 6, 3, 5, 7, and 6, 1, 3 are naturally minor. So let's look at those called secondary. We have the primary 1, 4, 5. We have the secondary 6, 2, and 3, which still use only the white keys. Let's look at the minor slider and see what happens. 1, 3, 5 on the minor slider is the 6th, or the secondary chord in the major. If I play 4, 6, 1 on the minor slider, you'll see that that is the natural 2 minor chord in the major. And if we play 5, 7, 5, 7, 2, you'll see that that natural minor happens to be the natural 3 minor chord in the major, and the 6, which is the 1 chord in minor, the 2 chord in major, which we call the 4 chord in minor, and the 3 minor chord in major, which we call the 5 chord in minor, are naturally minor, known as the secondary chords. So in the minor scale, it's still spelled 1, 3, 5, 4, 6, 1, and 5, 7, 2, only everything sounds minor. And now if I take those spellings, 1, 3, 5, 4, 6, and the 5, 7, 2, I wind up with the 7 notes of the natural minor scale. Now let's move it over here, this minor scale, over, and let me flip this guy over now, and move it over here to the key of E flat, and take a look at what happens when we use just a 5-note scale. When we use the 5-note scale, it turns out that the minor pentatonic now are the numbers 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 1, 7, 5, 4, 3, 1. So the 3 is naturally flatted in major. So over here in minor, the 3 is naturally flatted. There's a half step between 2 and 3 instead of between 3 and 4 as it is in the major. And there's a half step between 5 and 6 instead of between 7 and 1 as there is in the major. And the 7 is a whole step away from the 1, not a half a step or 1 chromatic tone. So this is a flat 7. So if we were to look at this in the major, like this, it would be spelled this way. 1, flat 3, flee, 4, 5, flat 7, phlegm, 1. 1, flee, 4, 5, flat 7, phlegm, 1. 1, flee, 4, 5, phlegm, 1, phlegm, 5, 4, flee, 1, which as you can see in the natural minor is just 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 1. So we can express them as 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 1, the same natural numbers in the natural minor scale. Of course, over here in A, if we bring this slider to A, you'll see that A is 1, B is 2, and 3, C, becomes the 3 flat in major, or the natural 3 minor. We have the 4th, the 5th, which is E, and then the 6th note becomes a flat 6 in minor. The 7th note becomes the flat 7 or 7 in minor, and then A again. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, or 1, 3, 5, 4, 6, 1, 5, 7, 2, which are the primary minor chords. And this relationship we will see as we move over to the guitar is this natural relationship exists on the guitar just as it exists over here in the black keys on the piano. 1, 3, 4, 5. If you want to play the blues, or summertime. Alright, if we want to play something like Sinner Please. So, that is the relationship from A to A of the natural minor scale and its relationship to the major. And in most places, always explain the major scale and use the 6th mode, the Aeolian mode, as the natural minor. Thank you.